My Chromie, something I should have figured out before we went live.
Well, we are live now,
Oh God, oh
ladies and
dear.
gentlemen, ladies and germs.
It says that the stream's going to start soon for me. Is this an
It's on
issue?
like a 15-second
So a 15
delay.
second cooldown.
Yeah, actually, it's exactly 15 seconds. That's
A
interesting.
15-second cooldown. I
Here,
still have.
let's stall for a minute until we get a viewer or two.
Stalling, stalling. We are Joseph Stalling, stalling,
Stalin,
stalling.
Stalin,
We are Joseph Stalling.
No.
Did you just hear what I was saying?
Yes,
Superman. Superman.
Superman.
Joseph Stalling. Can I badly retell a kind of funny bit? Like just while we're stalling, basically they were. Do you know who Jessica Negri is?
No, I don't.
So she does cosplay, and she was like one of the first people that I ever like I don't know her person, but just like one of the first
Mm-hmm.
like the idea of cosplay. Like she was one of the first people to introduce me to that via the internet. Via Philip DeFranco specifically.
Ah,
Yeah, right. Remember Philip DeFranco?
I
Is
do. He's not
still?
irrelevant or anything.
No, is
Like
he
he's
still doing his
still
show? Yeah.
he's still doing stuff.
I remember. I feel like he like almost got canceled
Philip
because of like
DeFranco?
because of like a starfish, if I remember correctly. Like
Well, you've already lost me.
no, he
I
was
always
like
felt like he was the most like boring but also safe.
yeah,
I like him, but I also I can never be excited about Philip DeFranco.
like for a while he was one of my like just like he was my Greg Miller before Greg Miller entered the picture,
Mm-hmm.
and then like no, and I could be completely making this up, and honestly, it could just be one of those things where Philip DeFranco was reporting on this story, and then like over time, I just have combined these two things. But to me, like I think he like went on vacation with his like fiance, wife, whatever they were at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and like picked up a starfish, and they didn't know that the starfish was endangered or some shit. And people were just like, "You could have killed that starfish," and they're like four of them, and blah blah blah, like which is like a valid if that was the case, like that's valid, but also like that, like he was I don't know, like
Mm-hmm.
in the picture it wasn't like oh look at us fucking with this starfish, like and this is just what if I'm remembering it correctly, because like I said, it very much could have been like some douchebag teenagers legitimately did like try to fuck with the starfish, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This started with me talking about fucking. Oh, okay. Jessica Negri introduced to me via Philip DeFranco and through his show. All this stuff again, not personal. She's on the Kind of Funny show, and
Mm-hmm.
Greg Miller is just. I don't remember why he brought this up, but essentially is saying like, look, like crime these days is just like it's scary and it's like cruel and it's just like unfortunate for everyone involved. That said, if you went in with a little bit of panache and like so he essentially says what I've been like not saying but feeling for a long time, where I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like I would be a lot more okay with crime if there was this super villain flair to it. So like he goes into basically like, oh, he's gonna be the grabbler, and his whole thing is he grabs people and he'll like hire contortionists to hide and like just go look up the bit on YouTube.
Did you say
like,
the grabber or the grabbler?
the grabbler?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a whole thing. And then one of the Kind of Funny best friends
Mm-hmm.
made like a whole ass like I think it's worth it to just like go look it up separately. Like people have clipped it out. Like it's like a
Mm-hmm.
3 minute long edited like bit or whatever of just
Mm-hmm.
him on the podcast talking about it. And then someone went in later and made this long ass like not long like just what the length of him talking about the grabbler like that bit,
Mm-hmm.
but then reenacted all of it. So like at one point he's talking about like yeah I'm going to hire contortionists and have them hide in like trash cans, and then like as people are like leaving work. Like if you
God.
work the bank and you just lock it up for the day and you leave work,
Mm-hmm.
someone hops out of the trash can and then you've been grabbed, and like they take you to the lair and it's like you think oh there are ropes tying you up, and no, it's like it's one of the grabbies I think are the henchmen. I still am seeing Loosely Confined stream starting soon. Is this? I realize that
Oh
we're
yeah,
waiting.
no, I have that up here. That's just I was waiting for. Oh, we do have someone in the chat now. Cool, perfect. Now we will officially start the show
Nice.
here. Boom!
Nice.
Hello. I figured this was like our little pre-banter, because we were kind of just kind of waiting to get to a point where we can start the main topic, or just in general start the show. And here we are. Welcome to Loosely Defined Week 2.
Guess we still gotta start the show.
Loosely Defined, number 13, I think, of the second era. Although this is sort of the third era now, and it's our second Loosely Confined.
I look at Loosely Defined as like having anime arcs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the origin story,
the passion project arc, the
distance arc, and then the quarantine arc.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the quarantine arc like slaps in the manga. So hopefully
yeah.
Yeah.
I did see a tweet that was like, 2020 is like the reason 2020 is so ass is because we've gotten past the manga.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Aaron's here.
Hello, Aaron. Yeet indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm glad that he's here. Okay. Let's just start into it. Like,
let's go for it. We're talking movie theaters today because we miss them, and we'll obviously get into Endgame later, which is this week's hashtag movies defined. I'm sorry. It looks like you are.
Yeah, but before all of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I jumped the gun.
I just wanted to talk because I just finished all of Demon Slayer, or all of season 1 from what's out there. I had to make sure that. Yes, exactly.
Did you watch it on Netflix? I just threw it up there.
It was on Hulu.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Hulu's like not that I'm the expert, but Hulu seems to be like the best anime specific platform for anime in terms of giving you the dub, but specifically giving you the dubs and subs and like the way I don't know. I was impressed when I was watching when I marathon the first season of My Hero, and it would just it had both the subs and the dub separately, but it knew to skip over the dub if you were watching the subs, stuff like that.
It also made it way less daunting with My Hero specifically, because with I think with Demon Slayer it's just subs on Hulu,
yeah. Is that recent? Is that new? Is that
Demon Slayer? So yeah, it dropped on October last year.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this I know because I looked it up literally right after I finished episode 26 on Hulu. I was like, okay, this to me starts it feels like episode 1 of the new season. So are we should I be expecting anything next week? And I don't, from what I understand, play it off.
If you're trying to play it off, don't pause for a full second after.
I'm just gonna start shaking the table.
You are in California.
No, I'm not. I'm in Nevada right now.
Oh, that's right. Do they have earthquakes there? I'm sure they have earthquakes there too.
It's either way. It's whatever.
I actually don't even know where the what is it? The San Andreas Fault?
That's in San. I'm not going to answer that.
I truly only know that it's called that. I only know it's called that because A, San Andreas, the movie with The Rock, and B, when I first learned about GTA San Andreas, I was like, why'd they call it that? And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
They made that a real place?
They made that a real place?
That's wild.
So Aaron said the movie comes out in October. I'm assuming we're talking about Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, yeah. So I was about to say, I looked it up. The movie, I don't want to spoil it, but I looked up, okay, what's literally as I'm Googling it, within the credits, it's just and the movie for this arc, in production. I'm just oh shit, okay, when did this come out? And I just wanted to make sure that because I knew that I was coming in late to the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I don't want to spoil too much. I just wanted to say that I finished it and I'm proud because I
How long is it?
It's 26 episodes. And honestly, the pacing, as I'm looking back on it, the pacing is really, 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 really good because I feel like we've gone a very long way. We, meaning me and the characters, have gone a very long way. From,
I like that phrasing. We'll come back to that later.
Yeah. So I guess quick synopsis. Basically, it's a world where it's feudal Japan, and it's demons, or they exist, but they're a myth. So not everyone is on board. And there's a elite corps of demon slayers, as the title suggests. So the main character, tragedy hits his family, and his little sister becomes a half like half demon, half human, essentially. Like she's holding on to her
Mm-hmm.
humanity, trying not to like attack humans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like human, I mean, when you think of a demon, think of it as just like a a vampire wizard because they can do some wackadoo shit, but they need human blood to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of look at it like that. It's very bloody. It's very scary. The animation stands out because they like combine like some 3D CGI like with like
That's
2D
cool.
animation,
Mm-hmm.
and like just the general like the outlines on the characters are really really distinct, so that you can like
Like in
sometimes.
Smash Bros for the 3DS.
Yes, actually yes, genuinely yes. Like okay, I would make it more like Street Fighter 4.
Oh, okay, yeah,
It's like
I love that
it's
style.
yeah, like it's really really dope.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the lore kind of builds in with the art style,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like any of the like the Slayer arts or like the special abilities that the Demon Slayers can use, or like the demon arts that the demons can use.
Mm-hmm.
That will like those powers will incorporate more of the CG stuff.
Yeah.
So like when a hero like unlocks a new ability, basically, or like they show you something
Mm-hmm.
new for the first time, like it is way cooler that like not now. My bar right now is My Hero Academia. Like
Right.
my thing with My Hero Academia is that like I cry because I'm emotionally attached to the characters and like with their growth and like what they're doing. Like
Yeah.
it's what I'm seeing is really awesome, but like it's mostly the how I'm feeling toward the characters right now. With Demon Slayer, like I'm just in awe visually of what's going on. Like it is just pure, just wash over me with lights and colors, and I'm
Yeah.
in love. And that that kind of works for me. It's very violent,
Mm-hmm.
like very violent. Like there's a lot. Like there's one point where like just they have CG for the blood. Like it's
Mhm.
that and it just looks and feels different, and there's just a tangibility to it that I'm just like
Mhm.
not comfortable with when I watch it. But I also binged a lot of it. Like I watched the majority of it in the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Aaron says to talk about
Talk
the
about it.
breaths.
So this is something that I kind of have beef with a teensy weensy bit, because I'm
Okay.
noticing that so many fucking anime come down to just you gotta breathe, and that's how you beat the bad guy. Just breathe. You breathe better than they do, and then you'll win. Because that's what JoJo was the first arc, and for most like that's what JoJo's is for the first generation.
Mm-hmm.
That's like if you really break it down, that's what Naruto's chakra stuff is. Like chakra control just comes down to your breath, and then like if you want to go there, Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is not like anime like that, but
Well,
you know,
so you mean like you don't mean like so you're talking about like focus like breath like it's like the kind of general trope where it's just like just focus and then suddenly the power unlocks.
I'm saying that there are I can out of the anime that I just mentioned, like Naruto, JoJo's,
Mm-hmm.
Demon Slayer, like I haven't seen it specifically in Demon Slayer, but I've seen enough of like the shit in Demon Slayer to be like, yeah, all three. The controlling your breath will let you walk on water because you can. Like if you meditate, like I don't want to like spoil too much, but like
Yeah.
part of the training in this is literally just like, look, like you got to make sure that you can breathe really really hard. When you breathe really really hard, or you control your breathing like to the at all times, then you can do some wackadoo lightning shit. Like you can do some. But it is
I
great.
appreciate your usage of wackadoo so far in the stream. You've said it a couple
It's
times.
one of my favorite nonsense words. I don't know where I got it from, but I love
I
it.
always remember the I think it's the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man in the montage when they're like it's like a news interview of a bunch of different New Yorkers, and like it's like some cop or fireman or whatever is just like, I think he's some crazy wackadoo. Like it's like the most New York like thing, most like New York dude they have.
I need to rewatch those movies. I haven't seen them in that long. I remember
I've been wanting to like go through and watch through all the Spider-Man movies again because like I'll rewatch the Marvel ones with the MCU, and I'll rewatch the Raimi ones like occasionally. Like I think I did like sometime a year or two ago, but I haven't seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies in a while, and I haven't like seen them all back to back. Like I want like compare like Toby to Andrew to Tom, and
that
then
actually,
Miles in there.
that
Yeah.
actually reminds. Yeah, okay, I need to talk about that
All right,
for
cool.
the later discussion. This last thing on Demon Slayer,
Mm-hmm.
and this will for Aaron for the breath. One of the characters, and I'm sorry I already forgot his name because I did not like him for 90% of ham and energy and fucking in JoJo's. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's breathing, and then you get superpowers. So there's a character, and Aaron blasts his name because I know you'll know. Yellow hair, got struck by lightning, all this shit. His whole thing is, I'm afraid of everything, but I'm still gonna go on the scary missions because I have to. And I'm like, I respect it, but also stop crying. Like they're literally being hunted by multiple demons trying to protect kids and be strong for the kids. And this dude is screaming the entire time, and I'm like, yo, shut the fuck up. And then, I'm gonna, spoilers for minor spoilers for Demon Slayer for this one character, for Aaron that's already seen it.
We have to remain optimistic that other people will see this at some point.
And then in that case, we can. When I clap my hands, that means that I'll be done with the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So basically, he passes the fuck out. Like he gets scared and passes the fuck out, and then does some amazing stuff while he's knocked the fuck out, and then wakes back up and is like, "Oh my god, you saved me!" to whoever he saved, and the person that he saved is just like, I've never seen anything like it. And he's just like, okay, now let's get the fuck out of here because I'm scared. And it's some of the most entertaining, like just television. Zenitsu, like he
don't sleep on him or he'll sleep on you.
Yeah, like he literally, like he eyes go white, he knocks the fuck out, and then pulls some of the coolest stuff I've seen in anime. And then afterwards, it's just like, what the fuck? Like it's really funny.
Okay. So I have a question for you then, and I'll extend this to Aaron, so let me know in the chat. Do I watch Demon Slayer or finish My Hero?
Finish My Hero.
Okay, because I've definitely got way more of My Hero to go through then, because you said it's 26 episodes of Demon Slayer?
26 episodes. But my
yeah, because I've got like all of season 3 and half of season 2 to watch of My Hero. Like
I personally, just knowing you, like also for one thing, as you ask this question, you're kind of wearing the UA like the tournament art.
This is for Endgame, which we'll get to, but
I understand that. I get that.
I was like in the middle of the tournament arc, I think, when I stopped watching.
Like the tournament arc is not like it's. I remember at the time I was like, "This is some of the most hype." Like you don't even know.
Aaron agrees with you, by the way. So
yeah, like you gotta.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
This kid, anime experiences. Legend of Broly, went to see that in theaters and enjoyed it very much.
Is that the recent one? Is that the one that came out last year or earlier this year, whatever it was? Yeah.
I got kind of not forced to take like to go see it, but someone was just like, "You want to go see it?" I was like, "Maybe." Like I was trying to weasel my way out of it, like be half-assed. They like sent me tickets, and I was like, "I guess we're going to see this." It was fucking awesome. It was awesome, and I'm very glad I saw it in theaters because I saw it again. Like I rented it, not the same.
Just in general, I don't see enough animated movies in theaters, and I was trying to like be better about that. But like I don't know. Either I'm just not a kid anymore, or they don't have nearly as many good animated movies anymore. Because there's like 1, maybe 2 Pixar movies a year. You get like the rare gems like Spider-Verse, but it seems like it seems like there's much more trolls and minions out there than there used to be. That, or I'm just like missing out. I don't know. I will say my big blind spot is some of the DreamWorks stuff. Like I haven't seen any of the How to Train Your Dragon, and I heard it was the same team as How to Train Your Dragon. Abominable, I think, that came out last year. I only know because we had it at the theater I used to work at. But it was the same team, and it was supposedly really good. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I overlook them. That's, I guess, my point. But
I saw. I'll give respect to the hypocrisy of me now is when you said How to Train Your Dragon, I went, oh yeah, and then we said by the team that made How to Train Your Dragon, and I was like, I'm just I'm attached to the specific it's very easy for me because I guess I was still young enough for How to Train Your Dragon 1 when it came out. For me to be like on the older end of the kids in there, but still being one of the kids in there, like I am here legitimately, non-ironically, and I'm not ashamed of how old I am to watch this with these young kids. Like I am here, I'm fucking here. And the second one broke me. I haven't even seen the third one yet because the second one had me like, I'm just like whatever the third one has, I don't need to see it. Like I've had my fill. Like this is fan. It's 2 movies that are perfect. gonna leave it at that.
Well, this is a conversation for a later day, but I mean, a lot of people have claimed that's like one of the best movie trilogies. So maybe someday down the line, if I finally get around to watching it, we can do a best movie trilogies and stack them up. I think we've maybe talked about it briefly on another episode,
Probably.
but I have like a lot of feelings because all the like, I feel like the most common default answers are like on my list, but way further down than they are for most people, with a couple exceptions. So yeah, I don't know.
I feel like actually, same. Now that we should definitely have this conversation more.
Yeah, we should. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. I didn't get a chance to list out my things, so I just don't want to make sure I don't miss any. But like,
so how? I guess this would be a live on the podcast. How do you want to just go? You say one, I say one, and or we just free flow it, or how do you want to discuss this?
Well, at first we were discussing like doing like or before we start, not at first, but before we started this, we were talking about like maybe doing like different like your first movie or your like whatever. I was thinking about that after I sent that text to you, and like I have like a vague memory of like the first like handful of movies I saw in theaters, but I don't have like a single like I'm upset that I don't remember the first movie I saw in theaters like really well, because I feel like that should be like a memory I hold dear. But I remember seeing either whichever one came out first, either Rugrats in Paris or Rugrats Meet the Wild Thornberrys. I saw both of those in theaters, and those are two of the earliest ones I can remember. And then I distinctly remember, this might be my most vivid early theater memory, I distinctly remember seeing Ice Age but falling asleep through half of it.
I remember we saw Ice Age in, I think it was like North Carolina with my like god sister, and she was terrified of the baby.
she was prophesizing the meme all these years later.
Yeah, no, and I remember seeing that on Twitter, being like, "Fuck this baby," and I'm just like, I never thought about it, but yeah, kinda like this baby's terrifying a little bit.
I never even thought of it until that.
No,
but honestly, Ice Age is a movie I remember loving as a kid, but I have not gone back since I was maybe 6 years old. Like, I probably saw it in theaters when I was like 4, watched it a bunch for 2 years, and then haven't watched it since.
I remember seeing that in theaters. I remember seeing Scooby Doo, like the live action remake, like the first one, in theaters, and having to be taken out of the theaters, screaming at the first time the monsters showed up. So I was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, they don't do monsters in Scooby Doo. Like, it's people in masks. This is a monster." Like,
yeah, those were freaky. Yeah. I didn't see it in theaters, but I remember seeing that live action Scooby-Doo for the first time in England. Like, we were like visiting family, and I like Henry, like my brother and I just like decided to just like not live action Scooby-Doo, written by James Gunn.
I remember the what are the YouTube people.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, so Mr. Sunday Movies was just talking about them, and I did not know that until he brought it up. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow, and had a whole moment.
That's going to be one of those like Space Jam where I'm going to be content to keep talking about it like it holds up and it's great, but I'll probably never rewatch it out of fear that it doesn't hold up.
I'm willing to die on the mountaintop that Space Jam does not hold up.
Yeah, but like, am I going to watch it again? No.
Like,
I'd rather just hold on to the memory of being like, oh yeah, that dude who fucking what's his name? Wayne Knight, I think, who's in like Seinfeld and stuff. Like when I finally saw Seinfeld and saw him on there, I was like, oh, it's the buddy from Space Jam. He'll forever be Space Jam guy to me. Yeah, like without question, that is like his number one role in my mind.
When I saw him in Jurassic Park for the first time, I was like,
oh, that's right. He's in Jurassic Park.
Hell? Like just a very different character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see that in the theater though.
Me neither. I saw that for the first time when I was like 17 or 18, like towards the end of high school. I just like bought it and watched it at home. But that year it came out, they re-released it in 3D. And I remember being like, oh, I've never seen Jurassic Park. I should go see it in theaters in 3D. Like that's probably like the next best way to see it other than like seeing it when it came out. And then, like, for some reason, I just let it slip by. And I was like, God damn it, I still need to watch Jurassic Park. Like, this is like, over my head. But on that note, 2 of my favorite movie theater experiences are re-releases.
Really?
Because, Well, because my family and I think it's Fathom Events or one of those companies does like they'll just play old movies. So they did Jaws. So my family, my brother, my dad, and I all went and saw Jaws together in theaters probably like 5 years ago or something. I mean, I had seen it before, but like that is like, I mean, it's for one thing, it's just interesting seeing a movie from like like way before I was born in theaters. Like it's just yeah, it's just sort of like, oh, this is. Am I time traveling right now? Like these movies go on a small screen. What are you doing? But Jaws is very effective on a big screen. And the other one is the Phantom Menace because, of course, it flopped. But George Lucas, before he sold Star Wars, was going to annually re-release the Star Wars movies in 3D. He put out Phantom Menace first because apparently he thought that would really get people excited. And I was thrilled to be able to see that in theaters because
that's where I saw it.
Yeah, like I had seen
seeing it in theaters, but I was like, no, that doesn't make sense because I was way too young to have memories of seeing that in theaters.
Yeah, it's I hope they at some point do another re-release of the original trilogy because thanks to that re-release of Phantom Menace, I've seen every Star Wars movie in theaters except the original trilogy. Because I distinctly remember if just going down the list, I don't want to spend too much time on the Star Wars movies because we'll like
Stop.
Well, my general feeling on all of them in theaters is the same, and it got like confirmed for me when I saw Force Awakens, which is like the first new one in 10 years, which is that the best moment in every Star Wars movie, especially like when you see it in theaters, is the second the title comes on the screen and the opening crawl starts, because no matter how bad exactly. No matter how bad the Star Wars movie ends up being, that moment is always pure. Like always. Like you're seeing a new Star Wars movie, the fanfare starts and the logo comes on screen, and all of them it feels exactly the same. It's that same feeling of like yeah. And then it just
I can't wait for next week's. I'm just thinking about it. I cannot wait for next week's. We should have loved it with this one because it is genuinely one of my favorite movie going experiences.
We'll get to that, Bo. We need to tease it.
No. Okay, we don't talk about the movie itself, but just the experience of going to the movie. So my friend was like visiting, and like we hadn't seen each other in a while, and I don't remember. There was an occasion behind it. Like I think it was her birthday or so. Yeah, I think it was. When did this come out?
December.
No, I don't know. I don't know. we went to the movies back when you could, and but it was very spontaneous. And before that, we were like at brunch because I had this whole thing where I'm just like, whenever we're together, we got to go find Bloody Marys. Because
disgusting.
We both like Bloody Marys. We both hate people that don't like Bloody Marys. So you can go fuck yourself. So
all right. Well,
we were at a like restaurant bar thing, and it was like 11 in the morning. And at one point, I realized like it might have been for Loosely Confined, and I was just like, I need to go see fucking Star Wars. I got to go see it. Do you want to go see it while we're here? All this stuff, because the movie theater was like we could throw a rock at it from where we were. And she was like, yeah, whatever. So off of like 3 Bloody Marys, we walk into the theater, but we go see Star Wars. We did not knowing it was about to be probably the most controversial Star Wars.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And then also that was one of the greatest discoveries, not realizing that you can order alcohol in the theater. And like I don't remember a lot of that movie. So going back is going to be exciting.
I think the ordering a drink part and just the general like that's what I miss the most about movie theaters. Not specifically ordering a drink, but like I'm content to watch movies at home. Like I'm not like I love going to a movie like to the theater, but like I enjoy watching movies just fine at home. But it's not just going to those theaters where you can order food or drinks and stuff, although I do love those. And the second I can go back to a movie theater, I'm going to one and spending like $50 on food and drinks. Like I'm going for it. But it's just the overall, like it's the same thing I miss about going to restaurants is like, you just have to walk in. That's all you have to do. And then
telling people what to do and they just do it.
Honestly, it's just like, I mean, like I enjoy cooking. I enjoy watching movies at home, but like it's nice to be able to just have it all taken care of for you. I mean, that's why you pay for it. Like it's not like for free or anything like that. But I just enjoy being able to go to a movie theater. Like one of my favorite experiences now at a movie theater off the top of my head is literally just seeing the like the last movie I saw in theaters before they all shut down was with my dad, and I saw Emma, the like recent Emma adaptation that they made, which pisses me off because I didn't realize this until after, but the official title is Emma period because it's a period piece. Yeah,
No.
I hate it. And the movie was fun. Like it's an absolutely like without stakes movie. Like, I don't know, people who may be big fans of the book might disagree with me, but like the point is, it was the last movie. It was the last movie I saw in theaters. While I still could, and it was at the theater I work at, so it was even more so just walk in and the movie, like, you don't have to do anything. So like, yeah, I just like I miss being able to just like walk in, have like good sound, great screen, not have to worry about it. Like, you know, I recently I think I mentioned this last week. I recently rewatched the Planet of the Apes movies, and like I enjoy doing that at home, but I would kill to be able to watch all three of those in a theater again, versus like without having to like worry about, you know, the glare coming through my window or, you know, my dog's barking in the background. Like I just want to like that tunnel vision aspect where it's just you in the movie and nothing else, or you in the movie in the crowd, but regardless, like it's all part of like one cohesive experience. And like honestly, those are my absolute favorite movie theater experiences, other than like a couple different ones that are very based on specific moments. But like all the Avengers movies, the Star Wars movies, like what makes those so fun is that everyone is reacting at the same time to all the same moments and enjoying it together. And it's like, I don't know,
even if someone, and I don't remember, there was one movie, and I can't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure it was like one that we saw together where someone in the front row was like, they were too excited. Like they were making more like they were kind of being a little too obnoxious. Like everyone was hyped, but like they were kind of a little extra, but it was still like genuine.
Yeah.
And like one person kind of like chirped at that person, be like, "Hey, shut up!" Like blah 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 blah. Like shut up, all this stuff. And oh no, it was Infinity War. Oh my god! Actually, okay. So someone lost their shit when Loki hit the screen, right?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Loki comes on screen, and someone in the front is just like, "Oh my god, Loki!" Blah blah blah. It's like, chill out, like just chill, calm down,
relax.
Yeah, just like shut up, like all this stuff. And then people around them, like not the person in the front row freak out because of Loki, but the person telling this person to shut up, we're just like, "Hey, you shut the fuck up! You shut the fuck up!" Like, this is for them. And then obviously, if you've seen Infinity War, you know what happens to Loki, and that person's life was changed. But like, even when someone is being obnoxious, like the story that I get out of that, like,
yeah,
I love stuff like that.
Yes and no. It's really like I'm such a stickler for like movie theater etiquette on 9 times out of 10. Like if I go to a movie, especially one that's like intense and quiet, like it like you should know when to react and when not. Like I hate like if a movie is making you laugh at a moment it shouldn't, my belief is that if you know that is not the moment to laugh, you should stifle it, because otherwise you could ruin the experience to the other people. Like that's the kind of like, I'm very strict about that. And I don't enforce it. I'm not one of those people who like yell at someone else in a theater. Like I don't have I don't like confrontation like that. But so if it's a big movie, I don't mind it if everyone's in on it together, you know.
So one of the reasons I added the worst movies, like on the tweet initially, like, so I went to go, and okay, so it was fucking G-Force. Do you remember? So
I will have the image of that poster ingrained in my head forever. I don't know why.
Gerbil, Nicolas Cage is a gerbil. So
oh God, that was Nick Cage.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Because it was someone.
What a filmography.
It was someone's little brother's birthday. I don't remember who. It might have been Zion's. I don't remember. I don't know. But we had to go see this movie.
Zion's little brother's birthday?
No, I'm saying it was either like my little brother's birthday or someone else's little brother's birthday. But regardless, I'm like the chaperone. Like I'm the old one. I'm the tallest one in the group, so I'm in charge. So the movie is ending. Like the conflict is over. We're back at the house. All this shit, whatever. And keep in mind, I'm the narc. As a kid, I am the one. If kids are ding dong ditching, I'm the one saying we're the ones doing it. I'm sorry. Like I was not fun as a child. So I'm like under my shirt, like, hey, Movie's almost texting the parent, whoever's picking us up. Movie's almost over. Blah 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 blah. Cool. Put it in my pocket. And this woman like corner, and I remember her being like 99 and a half, like just the oldest one.
Just older every time you remember it.
Yeah, because
this 200-year-old woman who was there when they invented movies.
And then Mary Shelley herself turns around and grabs me, like grabs my arm. And I remember being old enough to be like, "This is not okay."
Yeah,
like this is very much not okay. Please don't do this. Like whatever you do, stop. She's like, "It says don't text in front of," and I'm just like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Like my phone is on silent. Like my phone is on the lowest volume. It's not lowest volume, lowest brightness. Put it under my shirt. Just texting a parent, not texting a friend. Not that matters to you. Also, you're an adult. Don't touch me. I'm like 12." And she says, like, turns back around, and parent responds. I hear back in the pocket. She already was looking at me to make sure all this shit, and I'm like, she tries to grab my leg, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going? Like,
yeah, okay.
I'm just like, what the fuck? Because before I'm just like kind of like, now I'm just like, okay, if you need any kind of if you just are trying to touch me in any way, like I will make a big deal about this.
That's different. I mean, that's
by this time the credits are fucking rolling by the time that she's like fucking being, I don't.
I mean, look, I have respect for the people, not the way she did it, obviously, and like she was being inconsiderate, but I have respect for people who can like say something, like Jack, who don't think is watching, but anyway, he I can't remember what movie we were seeing, but we were seeing something, and there was like a bunch of like, I mean, we were kids too, but there were a bunch of younger kids behind us, and one of them kept kicking Jack's chair, and I had no idea this was happening. But just like at one point, like the movie was about to start, like it was like the last trailer. Jack just turns around. I had no idea what was like happening, and just yells like loudly at this kid, like to stop kicking his chair. And like I'm pretty sure their parent was like there too, and they just like looked at Jack, like didn't say anything. Awesome. It was great. And
I mean, it's a similar. And okay, just wrapping it into good movie going experiences. Whatever year this fucking was, shout out to, because it was the year where American Hustle and
2013. Yeah,
American Hustle, Life of Walter Mitty, and something else. But I was seeing American Hustle in theaters.
Yeah.
Earlier because I knew that we were going to see Life of Walter Mitty later, and it was like a half hour between. So I was literally like, I'm just going to go by myself to see fucking American Hustle because none of you want to go see it with me, you fucking frauds. And then we saw it. Like, so I walked out and was like, y'all missed out. That was awesome. Then we go in to see Life of Walter Mitty, and we were late. So there was this, like, you know how there's the front row, and then like the walkway, and then where all the normal seats are. So we are at like the very back end of that front row.
Gotcha.
And there are kids like right like in the aisleway, but like behind us, with no parents. And like I remember being whatever age I was in 2013. I'm not going to do the math. And my friend 16, sure. My friend sitting next to me. Fuck! Oh my god. Okay, that's fine. My friend was sitting next to me, and these kids start throwing stuff at me and my friend. And
no, that can't happen.
I'm like, you know what? I'll be a Karen. I'll go get the usher and get these kids out of here, and I'll have their parents called, and I'll ruin their day. And my friend's just like, no, we'll miss the movie. So he had Starburst. He just turns around and just
like not the wrapping, an actual Starburst.
Like the Starburst. Like that. He didn't unwrap them. He like just put his hand in and then just launched them.
I feel like that would be a pretty hard projectile, honestly.
No, like it was scattershot. Like he definitely didn't hit like
like a shotgun, just buckshot. Like
my thing is just like, look, like during this was all during the movie, and I'm still blown away that no one no one else saw or no one did anything. Like nothing happened. That's the thing. After he did that, like I don't know if we hit the kids, but the kids didn't fuck with us. So like,
it usually only like 9 times out of 10 you can shut someone up with just a single act of something, whether it's violence or verbal.
I'm just like, look, like it doesn't like I don't want to make a fuss, like other than getting these kids the fuck out of here. Like I'll go, it'll be fine. And he's just like, no one's gonna miss the party today, and then turns around and just fucking
I appreciate
God.
that because at like having like in my time working at a movie theater, I've only had to like go in. I've only had someone like come tell me to go talk to someone like a small handful of times. Granted, I wasn't a manager most of those times, and 9 times out of 10, it's usually like the customer coming up and being like, "I need to speak to a manager." Like they won't ask just the lowly usher to do it. But I did as an usher a couple times have to do it, and those were pretty. Like 9 times out of 10, what I would do is just walk in, wait like a couple minutes, and like if I heard them say something, I would just kind of like stand near them. And if it's kids, they're usually intimidated by a tall guy in a black shirt, like who clearly works there.
You're what my parents told me a stranger looks like.
Yeah.
So run. I'm gonna run.
There were a couple bad times though. Like the most recent one before the theater closed. It was like the end of last year, and it was the new Jumanji movie playing, and it was playing in like a small theater, but there was like more people there than we thought. And there was like I noticed this group of like loud teenagers go in, and I was like, oh crap, they're gonna be a problem. And sure enough, this woman comes out like an hour into the movie or like whatever, and is explaining to me like the people being loud or whatever. And she said that they were making her feel anxious. Like, and I was like, okay, this is a person with anxiety. Like, I feel bad for her. So I'm going to go do something. So I go in, I usually do. I wait and, wait. And I wasn't exactly sure who the people were that she was complaining about, but I assumed it was these kids. And like they were generally in the area she was like directing me towards. So I sit in the back of the theater. They definitely like, they weren't really bad, but they did talk a bit. So I kind of went over and said like, like, sorry guys, if customers have complained, I need you to be quiet. And like to their credit, they were very respectful about it. They were like, they looked confused, but they were like, okay. And then I walked out and it seemed like everything was fine. Turns out, this is the bad part. She comes up to me.
Justin Bieber? No.
That was Justin Bieber. No, she comes up to me after the movie, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she said something to the effect of, "Oh, it wasn't those kids, it was the Africans in the back." And I was like, "What?" So like what I thought was just a poor like anxious woman like trying to have a nice night out with her like kid, she was just fully just racist and afraid of the black people in the theater with her. And like when I was in the theater, like when she told me who she was actually talking about, I did see them there. They were silent. Like they were like not a word was spoken, at least in like the 5 minutes I was standing in the theater.
You can't trust them. Because everybody knows that black people are loud in theaters, and if they're quiet, that means they're planning something.
But it's just it was like it was fucking Jumanji 2 or 3 or whatever. Like I was expecting something to go down when we had Joker for 2 months, but like we have Jumanji and like no one. Oh my god, it was yeah. That was the worst time I've had to worry about that. Generally speaking, I don't have to worry much about that when I was working at the theater, thankfully. But
speaking of movie theater experiences, going to see Joker. Some kid stood up to go to the bathroom and I peed myself. That was stressful. That was a stressful experience, but I'm glad I saw it. Mm-hmm. Probably will never see it again, but
well, when I saw it the first time. I saw it in like a half crowded theater. It wasn't that big a deal. But that was fine. Although I did there were kids in that theater, and I like that'll happen every now and then. I'll see an R-rated movie and I'm just like, why? And like they weren't annoying, but like they should not have been in that theater.
When I was younger, like when I say younger, I mean like I could not have been older than 13 or 14. Mm-hmm. I would genuinely like stare down parents that brought their kids into like movies that I was like probably too young to be in, mm-hmm. but like I was not going to cry throughout the movie. I'm just like, look, if I'm being desensitized, let me be desensitized in peace. Like, let me. I shouldn't be here, but you for sure shouldn't be here. Like, you shouldn't be here so much that it's loud and that it's disruptive. Like,
I don't think I ever saw a movie in a theater that I was like so scared of that I had to either look away or leave the theater. I mean, granted, that's partially because I knew what movies not to see. Like, I was very much like, I will not see that if I think it's going to scare me. But my brother always had a story of when the Green Goblin busts into fucking Aunt May's room. Finish it! Apparently my dad always told me that's like when he had to leave, and so we like never finished seeing that movie until like I watched it with him as a kid. But yeah, the closest thing was oh crap, oh yeah, when the Dark Knight came out, like that was like a movie that my dad on the way driving me to the theater, it was like one of the first movies I saw like just with a friend and not a parent. He was like, yeah, I was reading about this movie, apparently it's like almost rated R, I'm not sure if I should let you see this. I'm like, we're on the way to the theater, so all you're doing is making me freak out. Like either you're gonna take me there or you're not. But so I was fine through most of that movie, and then the guy I was seeing it with, the moment when Two-Face like turns to the camera and reveals his like scar, we both looked at each other, stared each other right in the eye, and just no, we stayed. We were both just like, what? Like out loud to each other, like that. And another superhero movie was X-Men: The Last Stand. The opening scene where like little kid Angel is cutting off his wings in the bathroom. That was like. That I remember the first time I saw it. Turns out much later it was also because it was a bad movie, but I remember not enjoying it at the time because that opening scene just put me off throughout the rest of the movie. Nothing else in that movie is nearly as freaky as that, but like that horrible scene of like watching a kid like essentially like self-harm, like that was fucked up. And like they show it to, like, I mean they
show it. He's like making contact.
I remember this
bad of fucking wings. Like it's
I mean to the point where I watched that movie earlier this year, and like I didn't look away necessarily or skip the scene, but like I don't know, like I that will always get me. Like that moment will always get me. It definitely scarred me when I first saw it.
Just on the subject of kids in theaters, I don't like children. I feel like this has been documented. But basically, when we went to go see Kong Skull Island in theaters, there were these two kids, like these siblings, in front of us, and I just, as soon as they walked in, I'm just like, there's going to be some shit in this movie. It's going to scare you, and it's going to make you cry, and at that point, you better leave the goddamn movie. And I don't remember what it was, but something did make them cry, and I'm just like, good, leave. And they did. And I'm just like I remember you being like, just they're children. You were a child once. Stop being an asshole. And I'm just like,
There's a freaking movie.
And at one point, Kong grabs a tree, like a tree branch or something, like or a tree, and like strips it of the branches, and then hits something with it. And the kid goes, "Whoa!" And I'm all at the exact same time, and I go, "Whoa!" And I'm just like, "Okay,
I remember that.
All right,
that was awesome. I love that shit. Like, like kids can either make it the worst. Well, I don't know if they can make it the best, but they can definitely make it the worst experience you can have. But they can also improve, like the experience as well. Like my dad and I saw the Lego Movie, and like we were both looking forward to it, but like it was at the same time we didn't know really what to expect. We were just like this could be a fun kids movie, but you know, I was like a teenager and he was an adult, so it was just sort of like maybe we're gonna be the wrong audience for this. But then we get there, and like not only is the movie like perfectly enjoyable for adults, but it was like filled with kids, and I swear to you, they all reacted adorably at the perfect moments. Not a single one was annoying, except for like one kid who kept like identifying characters as they popped up. But even then, that was kind of cute. Like when like the Star Wars characters showed up, they were like, "It's Star Wars," and then the kid could not say Lando Calrissian. He was like that, and then and my dad always brings this up. He also was like, "It's the Millennium Falcon." But that was actually pretty good. I appreciated the kids for that one.
After like the third time, I'd just be like, "Is this gonna be the whole movie? Like, are we gonna have a conversation that you're not gonna forget? You're gonna like bring up on a podcast later on?" Like, yeah, some guy grabbed me in the middle of the Lego Movie and was like, "Motherfucker, it's Lando
Calrissian. Learn it if you're gonna say shit." Oh god. It's funny because we mentioned earlier the fact that like animated movies we don't see as much in theaters, or at least I don't, but the one that stands out recently is Toy Story 4, which I saw last year, and I saw it with a group of friends, and we like by the end of the movie, like of the 8 of us we saw, like of the 8 people in our group, literally half of us were not just crying, but like blubbering, like it was bad, like loudly. And I don't think there was any kid in that theater. Like Toy Story, just I think at this point it's like it's for our generation, it's not for the kids anymore. Like
so for fucking the last few Pixar movies, like I think starting with Inside Out. Nope, I saw Inside Out with. Did I? I think I saw Inside Out alone. Now that I think about it. But like I feel like there's been a trend of just me going to like see the Pixar movies alone because I'm just like, does anyone want to go see this? No, I'm bored and it's Sunday morning, so I just go. But inevitably, it'd just be me, usually in all black, looking like I do, just sitting in a room full of bright-eyed children, and like most of the time, like after Inside Out, I was like, in my head, probably controversial. Like Inside Out was the last like fucking phenomenal Pixar movie. Like everything else, I'm just like, okay, this is like even with the Good Dinosaur is just Disney, right? Never mind.
Yeah, that was Pixar. It came out the same year as Inside Out. Yeah.
Okay. But I remember seeing that and just being like, sitting throughout it, and I'm just like, what is this? What the fuck am I watching? Blah, 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 blah. And then like once it hit like the 15 minutes left in the movie mark, I'm just like weeping. And like before I realize I'm crying and like I'm just soaked in tears. And like with Toy Story 4, I remember seeing that and like the kids not really like getting it or like really understanding what was happening. They're just like, oh, and I'm just like, no, you don't fucking get it. Like you don't understand. Like, and like 10 minutes before that, I'm just like, what is? They're just cashing in on my fucking emotions. This is just Disney being Disney. And then immediately, oh my god, that's it. I still hold that Inside Out is the last great one. That's truly great one in a while.
They've been hit or miss for me. Also, I haven't seen Coco, which is apparently like really, really good. So
I haven't.
But like all the sequels, except for I thought Toy Story 4 was pretty great, but like Finding Dory disappointed me, and Incredibles 2 disappointed me. So I don't know.
With Finding Dory, it was the same thing as Good Dinosaur, where I'm just like, also throughout, like whatever the element that whatever one of the 4 elements that fucking Pixar decided to focus on, like with Finding Nemo was water, and with I guess water in Good Dinosaur too, because I'm just like, you can't tell me those aren't real clouds. Yeah, like some of the lighting in that movie and like just the way that the grass, I was like, this is like
that was the thing with Toy Story 4. Like you like the opening scene with that like RC car going into the gutter and stuff like that. Like it's just like every bit of like muddy water looks absolutely real, 100%. And I just remember similarly to the end of the movie where we were all crying together, like everyone just kind of looking back and forth and being like, is that real mud? Like did they film this on location? Are these live action now?
How did they get the toys to remember all these lines? Okay, I guess so. I want to like be able to transition into our movie club, but before we do that, I feel like it's a movie going experience that both of you like we both have on. Like I feel like this is the flip side to Endgame, being Batman v Superman.
I honestly don't remember a whole lot from that movie going experience, like because I remember disliking the movie, but disliking it more as I thought of it. So like I don't remember like having the visceral reaction that I know you did and we talked about last week. But
you were like stoic, like you went in. Like I don't think you were like
well, my expectations had kind of gone down pretty significantly by then. Not just because of the reviews, but also like I felt like the later trailers as they started showing more and more of the movie, I was like, oh no, this is not going to go well.
In my head, I was like, okay, whenever Doomsday shows up, that's when the movie is going to go down for me. Because I remember seeing the second trailer, seeing the Batman warehouse fight scene, and being like, this is it. Yeah, this is about to be the best goddamn Batman interpretation we've ever had. All this stuff, and then they showed Doomsday and whatever. My little brother flew out from California to see this. Or it's like for spring break, whatever. But like we went to go see this. Because I was like, this is my most anticipated movie. Like, it's going to be the fucking Dark Knight Returns on screen. And I love the casting of Ben Affleck as Batman. I still stand by that. Like, I think he did a good job.
I agree. You think he stands out?
And I remember, and spoilers for this movie, I remember sitting next to you as the Flash, like, busted out of the fucking Time Force, or Speed Force. Yeah. And be like, I got hyped. Because I was just so confused that I was
that whole sequence.
I either have to. My dial goes from it's either hype or anger, and I decide hype in that moment. So I'm like, yo, fuck! Like this is gonna be the rest of the movie. Oh my god, they faked us out. All this stuff, and he just flashes back, and then no, and then from that moment on, it just full tilt anger, and I just was so like just bubbling the whole time to the point where like when Superman died. I was almost like fucking good. Like it was just so I was so angry. Like
Well,
And
you
as
do
we
this
left,
thing I love seeing when we see movies together, particularly hyped up superhero movies, where you reach out and like grab at the screen, like you. It's at the first couple times you did it, seeing stuff together, I was so embarrassed. Like, but honestly, after a while, I just grew to appreciate it. But I distinctly remember like all the times you did it, like Infinity War and Endgame and stuff, and it was always just like, yes, like. But I remember a couple times seeing you like noticing in Batman v Superman where you would reach out, you'd be like Flash would come on screen, or like the you'd see Dark, like the apocalypse symbol or all this stuff, the Omega symbol, and you'd go like, ugh, but then there'd be like, as you pulled it back, you'd be like, why though? Like, it was like the initial hype was there, and then as your brain processed what was going on,
see this.
Yeah,
But at what cost? Like, why?
what did
Like,
it cost?
not like this, not like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the complete other end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
for our movie, for movies to find this week.
Yes, we watched Endgame for our movies defined, and obviously that ties in because we've mentioned it a couple times, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like this entire like subject of movie theater experiences, for me, the best of them can be summed up by that the on Twitter it was making the rounds of this like audio track of everyone watching Endgame and reacting to it. And like it sounded exactly like our theater did when we saw it. And like, yeah, I Infinity War had plenty of these moments too, but Endgame was literally like everyone going. Like Infinity War, you went in and you kind of were like, all right, this is gonna be sad by the end. But Endgame, it was literally like either this is gonna be sad or awesome or both, or I'll be disappointed. Like the mix of emotions that I felt going into that theater made the experience like that just more intense on every end of the spectrum of reactions. Like I just remember the second Hawkeye's like turns and his kids are gone, like the first tear went down my eye, and then from there it didn't stop. Yeah, it
was a matter of the volume of which the volume at which the tears are leaving your face. And I think comparing it to Infinity War especially, like, because I remember Johnny and I read Infinity Gauntlet before. Or I don't think I finished it actually. Now that I think about it, but we both like were kind of going through that arc to be like, okay, what the fuck are we supposed to expect? Like, I'm trying to emotionally prepare myself. And I remember seeing the leaked Comic-Con trailer of Thanos throwing the moon, and me just being like, I don't know, and knowing that at the end of the movie there is we're gonna say 80% chance that Thanos snaps his fingers.
Yeah.
And then, in our heads, probably snaps his fingers, and then we just end the movie, and then we pick it up with Endgame. Seeing everyone go away was such a
dude.
Yeah. It was not only like, oh my god, these people are gone. Mm-hmm. Seeing it happen gave you this like, okay, fuck this guy. We have to like. It was not just the like, oh man, it's the pain of loss, but also the rage of knowing that someone did this.
Yeah.
And knowing that he's mortal and that we can go find him.
Well, and that I want to get to Endgame, but
the squad.
I want to focus on Endgame, but I think that third act is so important to how good Endgame feels because, and I tweeted about this because I rewatched Infinity War 2 this week just for the hell of it, and that final scene, the fact that there's no music as everyone's snapping away, every time I watch it now, I remember what the theater was like because it was literally like silence and then everyone's voice raises as someone falls away and then back down to silence. And then the fucking moment, I'm literally getting chills. Like my whole body just fucking chilled as I was about to say it. When Peter says, I don't feel so good, just the loudest no you already there was a huge one in Black Panther left and a bunch of other ones, but fake
out of just him going to Okoye and everyone be like, Okoye, no, and her just be like, all right, and then holding on to Ash and you're just like, but that just got you, like, what the fuck?
And that was like a loud moment, but when Peter was about to fade away, just everyone couldn't accept it, and that's just jumping to Endgame, when the portal scene happens, it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing, but in reverse, where as each character comes out, it's it goes from silent to just cheering to silent to cheering to silent. And of course the music's incredibly like loud at
It's
that time
it's
too. So
literally
it's like
the Avengers
yeah,
theme lasted at max volume
max
4 times in a row. Like,
yes. And honestly, like, and that was one where like in that audio track that was going around, there's that one dude you can hear who's just like, yeah, and like I said, I'm never that guy in a movie. I'm always like, I'm usually pretty quiet, and with the Avengers movies that was a whole different scenario. But I remember you pointing it out after, and like, to be fair, like I was the only one, but when Falcon flew through, that was like where I was just so like in the moment. I was the only one in the theater just be like, fuck yeah. And like normally I would have felt so like embarrassed at myself for doing that, but it was just the perfect environment for it. Everyone like, if it was like the one time in a theater where if you were the only one to say something, it was cool. Like,
yeah,
it was like, great, that guy just got his favorite moment he'll ever
like,
see in a movie, and I'm happy for him because
like,
I'm about to get mine too. You know?
oh, this is about to be a deep cut, but if anyone ends up listening to this, it's the end of Evangelion, but with emotion for fucking Endgame, like with your favorite character. I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you know, I knocked it out of the park. Honestly, that was a great analogy if you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Good shit. I don't, but all right. But how did this viewing of Endgame this week go for you? Because I'd seen it I saw it like 4 times in theaters and twice now at home. This was your first time seeing it since the first time in theaters, right?
So for everyone's, how did I cope during the first time seeing Endgame? I say this all the time, but at one point, a grown man that I'd never met before, did not know this, puts his hand on my shoulder as I am like just open mouth, snot, everything, just weeping. It's gonna be okay, man. We're all here. And I just look at him and just and then go back to my crying. Like I was a mess.
A
So
true communal moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't do that again just because it's Saturday. Like I can't, I can't just on a whim. So like, I don't know. It was basically it's basically the same, like not the same level of emotion, but like the same emotions. I think with the taking away the element of the unknown and the element of also we can go just shout out to the old Loosely Confined episodes where we basically like pitched what we thought Endgame was going to be. Yeah, damn close to what Endgame was because I was like, oh, it's going to be greatest hits. And then when we flash back in New York, whatever, I like in the theater, I was just like, like I remember slapping the fuck out of you. What is it? So like without the element of like the surprise and the unknown, I was just able to like sit with it and being able to see like when Scarlett Johansson hit screen the first time, or when Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow are very different people. When she hit the screen the first time, I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like you have to take a second.
So many moments that like hit so much stronger when you know what happens. Like everything with Tony and Steve in the first act, like Steve being like, you have to move, like, you have to move on, but I can't move on. Like just knowing how his story ends, like Tony just like, oh God, like the way he was like, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Oh my God. Like recesses or whatever, like, recedes back to like old Tony when he first shows up back on Earth before the like when he's all skinny and like he's been in like stranded in space, like he just like jumps back to Ultron just being like that I don't care what any of you say, that was a good idea, like that murder bot I invented, great idea, like all that
he only tried to drop a meteor because you didn't agree with me.
And people, and I've seen someone point this out, and I really like pay attention to it now when I rewatch Endgame. The fact that Pepper is like tells Tony you can rest now at the end, like that is not only just like fitting of their character, like their relationship and their character arc, but specifically the scene where she essentially convinces him like, no, you have to go help the Avengers, is so poignant when you realize what happens later, because she's like, if she had just told him like no, stop, like she would still have her husband, but she's literally like, look, you have to do this, like I know you have to do this. And then when he finally does it, she's like, all right, now finally I get what I want, which is you resting. But like it's such a selfless moment for her, and like it's a character that never really latched on to me that much, but I like in her small bits in Endgame, I think Pepper is fantastic, and like I get her having Tony's final moment, I think is really special.
Like just even when she shows, I think like this movie did a great job with like, because Pepper's always there. She never
Hmm.
really like. It's not even that she didn't have anything to do, or
Hmm.
that she was like,
Well, she had plenty to do in the Iron Man movies.
yeah, in the larger
Yeah.
scale, in the MCU, she's not
Hmm.
like one of the major players. But in this, she is like,
Yeah.
she's one of the emotional gut punches of the
Oh,
movie. And when she shows up,
yes.
like not
In
just for the
in suit. Yeah.
she shows up when she fucking lands and then looks up and she's angry as
Uh-huh.
shit. I'm just like, let's do this.
Well,
Like
and
it's one
they
of the
tee that up earlier in the movie, and I truly did not think they were gonna really follow through. Like, because Rescue is like a Pepper Potts inner suit. That's Rescue in the comics. They like hint at that in Iron Man 3 when Tony like throws the suit onto her to save her. And I thought that was the extent of it. So I thought when they show the mask at the beginning of Endgame, that was just like almost referencing back to that other reference.
no, to me,
So
I was like, that's Chekhov's gun where she's got to be in the
it
suit.
was, but for some reason I didn't pick up. I viewed it as just like a casual reference. I don't know. I just didn't believe they would put Pepper in a suit. And then when she did, it was one of those like, I don't need further explanation. This was perfect. Like I don't need like to know like has she trained in this suit before? Like I don't care. Like when she shows up kicking as much ass as Tony, it was so satisfying.
Like, the back to back, because okay, so also as a Gundam fan, as a fucking Gundam fan, just to have a flying robot suit that has detachable little wing parts that shoot lasers as you shoot lasers, and then to just be like, hey, Bay, back to back, and then you just, oh my god, like it was just, and all just so as I rewatched it, like one of the things that I remember the first time I saw it was just like, okay, like I'm trying to like piece back together the battle sequence. Like I remember Spider-Man flipping down. I remember like the whole portals. I remember Ebon Bay. I remember Mjolnir and then Assemble. I remember all this shit. After Ant-Man punches the Leviathan out of the goddamn sky,
Dude.
I black out. I genuinely, I'm just like, it's just, like, I have no idea. And then I wake up and at this point, fucking Captain Marvel gets the headbutt thing, and then more blackout. Like it's just I'll faint, and then I'll be, oh, what's happening? And then headbutt, and she's like, and I'm like, oh, I gotta black out again. And then Iron Man, I'm just in tears looking at, like it's so fucking good. And like I want to go back and watch it, but I'm also like I'm dehydrated. Like I can't do this again. It's just so fucking good.
It is a lot. I like the third act of that movie is so satisfying and so draining at the same time that I almost now when I rewatch it, it's sort of like the whole movie is just the like mental and physical preparation for getting to that final. I mean, it's really the final hour of the movie. Like it's a significant chunk of the runtime. But yeah. So before we wrap up and talk about our next movies defined, do you have any final thoughts about this viewing of Endgame specifically?
I don't know if I could do it again, or I might just explode. Like it's too much. It's too much. Like it's as a movie. Like when I compare like Infinity War and Endgame, like I can go back to Infinity War and have a great time knowing that like at the end of it everyone gets dusted. Like that's fine because I know that eventually they come back. But how they come back, I can't fucking deal. Like
that's funny. Yeah.
The fear through it, because also shout out to them not showing fucking anything.
Yeah, those trailers were effectively limited.
Even as I went back the second time, I'm like, I know what happens. I'm still going through with that same level of anxiety as I did when I first saw it because I'm just like, I don't like the next scene can kill everyone. Like they kill Thanos in the first 15 minutes. You don't know what the fuck you're ready for. Like it's one of those, and it's just...
Well, both Infinity War and Endgame more so with killing Thanos, but Infinity War too. Once like Heimdall and Loki die in the first 5 minutes, it's literally like, okay, anything can happen in this movie now. Like I knew we kind of knew everyone was. Oh, that too. That entire like both movies like their opening 15 minutes do such a good job of not shattering your expectations, but widening your expectations to the point where like you no longer can expect anything. You know what I mean? Like if anything can happen, you can't like really predict anything anymore. And it's such a
people will still believe in him. Does not help in this situation.
No. All right. Before we tease our next movie, I want to very quickly read. We got 2 responses on our tweets here. At KYCHRO. I don't know who that is. Kylie C. Roberts said, I saw the midnight opening showing of Breaking Dawn Part 2 with my mom in 2012. The theater was packed. Gasped in unison during the not-so-plot twist. Clapped throughout the end credits. We walked out of there like we had just seen the best film ever made. And I want to know how you feel about that now. No, but I understand that. There's like a couple movies that like I feel like it's not the same thing because I'm sure the anticipation was much higher. But there are like random movies I remember walking out of and thinking like that is like now one of my favorites of either ever or of that genre. That happened with both Amazing Spider-Man movies. When I walked out of them, I was like, "Oh, best Spider-Man movie ever!" And then like thinking about it like less than a week later, just being like, "Oh no, it was not like Amazing Spider-Man 2." I legitimately loved when I first saw it, and that has like a great ending. But yeah, and then sorry.
No, I mean same with Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I was like, I'm crying, so it must have been good.
Mm-hmm. And then Frankie at Trans Kafka said, was in a small theater for The Night is Short Walk On Girl. Felt community with the people also there to see Yuasa movie. I had to look up who this was. It's a Japanese animator. So I have no idea what this movie is or who this person is. But I can connect to that in the sense that Frankie and I saw Shin Godzilla together, which is the most recent and last Godzilla movie made by Toho, and like it was a very similar thing where like it was the first time I had seen a proper Japanese Godzilla movie in theaters, first and only, and like knowing that everyone else was there for like this one weekend like theater run was like a pretty satisfying experience. So I enjoy that. I can connect to that.
I saw the last Godzilla in a theater at 9 a.m. with 6 other gentlemen, and we all sat very far apart. And the most communal thing that happened during the movie was when they went to when they went to the little underwater civilization place. I was just like, and then turned my head, and the dude across the way was just like, that was pretty much it.
Okay, real quick. Brief story about the first time the time I saw the 2014 Godzilla. My brother and I had both grown up loving Godzilla, never seen one in theaters. When his tail starts lighting up in the final battle, we literally I've never been more out of control of my body watching a movie. Like we both literally stood up, and we were not in the front row, but we were like 4 or 5 rows from the front, so we were like in front of people. But we both just jumped out of our seats in excitement, and I've never felt that before. So, I have to shout that out.
On a brother's tangent, the most nonchalant, hey, we are out of school earlier than we're normally out of school. At this point, I'm driving. For some reason, we can't go back to the house because yard work or what. So for some reason, we can't be back at the house for another few hours. Hey, Mad Max Fury Road is playing at Canyon Country. Let's just fuck around and go see that. I don't really care. We walked out of that movie hype as shit. Just having no idea how good that movie was going in. Just just saw Mad Max Fury Road on a whim.
I think I've still only seen it once, and it didn't hit the hype for me, and I know I need to watch it again. I
just remember seeing, for one thing, seeing them motherfuckers on the hood of the car drinking gasoline like it's Gatorade, spitting it into the engine, and then making flames go out the back, and all the cars go faster. I'm just like, all right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And dude on he's playing a guitar with flames coming out of the guitar and a big ass amp, and they're just driving, and I'm just like, I'm not even gonna ask why. I'm just gonna sit with this and be okay with it. This is fucking dope.
We definitely got to do that on Movies Defined at some point because I do need to watch it again. But this week we are doing Star Wars, as was heavily implied earlier, if not outright said. So if you are joining us for Movies Defined, please tweet us this week when you watch it with the hashtag Movies Defined. It is not on any streaming services yet, but on May the 4th, which is in 2 days from now, or tomorrow actually. It comes out on Disney Plus, so it is available there. I haven't seen it since it was in theaters. And have you, Bo?
No.
Yeah, so I've only seen it the one time, so I'm excited to watch it again, even though I didn't really like it the first time.
So, I saw it blitzed the first time.
Yeah, 4 Bloody Marys, 3 Bloody Marys.
3 Bloody Marys and a White Claw. During. So.
maybe I'll get to your level if possible during my viewing. Maybe I'll enjoy it more.
It was very fun the first time I saw it.
It is a enjoyable action movie, like, and it looks really cool. I have issues, but hopefully I will have less issues on this rewatch. So yeah, join us for hashtag movies defined on that one. And we are a little bit over our time here, but we started a little late, so that's all right. Yeah, thanks for watching Loosely Confined.
Stay indoors.
Hmm?
Stay indoors.
Stay indoors, stay loose. Our ats are on the screen, but if you're listening on audio, all that stuff's in the description. I'm at E. Wilshire Prime.
I'm at Brother Grimbo with 2 M's. Right now I'm shining like a Twilight vampire.
You've been pretty shiny most of the episode, to be honest. I keep forgetting it's daylight there still. Yeah,
it's coming down directly in the window. I thought I would like. It's fine.
All right. Follow the show. All that's in the description. Defined Loosely on Twitter, Loosely Defined on Instagram. Let us know throughout the week. We're probably going to talk Star Wars in general on the next episode because Clone Wars is ending this week as well. But we'll explore some other options as well. So once we've set our topic for next week, we'll tweet about it. Try to get some interactions from people ahead of time, so we can incorporate those into the show. We want this to be a community experience, like going to the movies. So yeah, and Bo is
bring your kids.
Yeah, don't touch Bo and don't bring your kids. All right, that is the motto of Loosely Defined. Hashtag stay loose, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye.